Well, I'm Lincoln,
And I'm Melanie.
and this is our self-converted Iveco Daily van. So let's have a tour. We're going to start out looking at the solar panels. We've got 800 watts of solar in a tilting array. That's great, being able to tilt it like that. At the moment, it's 7:30 in the morning, and we're doing about 650 watts. So that's great. It enables us to maximize our solar generation first thing in the morning and last thing in the evening, which is really good. We've also got Starlink, which is flat mounted on the roof and works in motion sometimes. It's meant to work in motion. It does some of the time, but not all of the time. So that's something that I need to sort out. Anyway, let's take a look inside the van. So coming into the van, we've got our seating area here. Stored in the first part, we've got shoe storage, which you can see is beautifully tidy at the moment, he said sarcastically. So nice seating area, and you'll notice that we've chosen to close off the cab from the rest of the van. That's to help, mostly to help with thermal load. The cab can get pretty hot. We live in Australia. We're currently in Queensland, where we're expecting temps of around 40 degrees Celsius today. So keeping the cab separate helps to keep the rest of the van at a more comfortable temperature, and it also helps the van air conditioning when we're traveling. It's only got to cool the cab down and not try and cool the whole van. So that's really good. So then coming inside, cabinet. So this cabinet over the cab has got all kinds of stuff in it. There's heaps of space in there. Then we have this one, which is got our electrical panel, controls the circuits that we want to be able to switch on and off in the van, like pumps and hot water system and fridge, internet, that sort of thing. And also first aid kit and kind of first aid related stuff, mosquito repellents and things like that. And of course a bookshelf next to it. We've got the first of our two Sirocco fans. That was a recent addition, really good. We've got this lovely macrame hat hanger that one of our daughters made for us, thanks Danae, and that just keeps our hats under control. So in our van, we elected to put a bathroom, and as you can see, the bathroom actually takes up a reasonable amount of space in the van. That was because I wanted to be able to shower without feeling like I was standing right over a toilet. So it's a recirculating shower. The water from the shower head goes down the drain into a storage tank, and then from there through a spin down filter, through the pump, and then a series of filters before returning to the shower head. And it is mixed hot and cold, so we pass water through a heat exchanger to heat it. So that's the shower. We've also got this brilliant washing line that Melanie found online, which is really great because it allows us to use the bathroom, which would otherwise be in a lot of the time a wasted space. We can hang our towels, we can hang our tea towel, hand towel, all that kind of thing, our bath mat, and it will dry through the day. It's out of the way and it gets dry. It's really good. So this was a brilliant find of Melanie's. So we have also an Ogo recirculating a recirculating toilet. That doesn't sound very nice at all. We have also an Ogo composting toilet. So it separates the urine from the solids urine into a tank in the front, which is easily disposed of, and then solids into the back into a composting medium, and you've got this button on the side here which you press to stir the contents, and mixes it all up. It's really good. You hardly ever smell anything as long as you keep the toilet clean, and we're finding that in hot climates we need to empty the urine fairly frequently, not because it's getting full, but just to help stop it from getting smelly. The other thing that we've got in the bathroom here, which is really quite helpful, is this curtain which we can pull across. So it's just a shower curtain from, I don't know, Target or Kmart or something, but we can pull it across the toilet for while we're showering so that the toilet doesn't get wet, which is quite useful. So then onto the kitchen. We've got this nice sink from IKEA. It's actually meant to be a top mount sink, but we've undermounted it, which I think is just more functional, and a nice mixer. Cupboard with a bin on the door, so you open the door, the bin's open. That's really good, convenient for dealing with rubbish. So we've got the little soap dispenser just mounted here by the sink, which is great. There's always soap there available when you want to wash your hands. So this is the controller for the hot water system, which is just here in the cupboard under the sink. And the hot water system is a little bit different. It's a diesel hydronic heater. So I'm just going to turn it on because I need to wash the dishes. And so how that works is there's a diesel hydronic heater mounted under the floor of the van, and then in the cupboard here behind the rubbish bin is the reservoir that holds the glycol solution, and it gets circulated from this reservoir through the hydronic heater, and then through 2 heat exchangers, and then back into the reservoir. And the way that works, or the reason we've got 2 heat exchangers, is so that we have hot and cold water at the kitchen sink here. So we get hot water for the kitchen through one of the heat exchangers, and hot water for the shower through the other heat exchanger, so that the shower water system and the kitchen water system are completely separate. The water doesn't mix, other than I have a valve underneath which I can open to send water from the fresh system into the shower tank to fill the shower tank up if we have decided to change the water in there. So you can see that it's in its startup cycle at the moment. The little symbols tell me what it's doing, and in a few minutes time it should be nice and toasty hot, and I'll be able to fill the sink with hot water and wash the dishes. Okay, so that's now plenty hot enough. I'll be able to run hot water into the sink to wash the dishes. Turn this on. And that's beautiful and hot. Once I'm happy that I've got enough heat and enough hot water, which you don't need a lot of water to wash the dishes, then I just press and hold this button and the system will shut down. Simple, just takes a few minutes. Cutlery drawer, which has also got, you'll notice there's no cooktop up here. We've got a Dune 4-wheel drive induction cooktop, single burner induction cooktop, and that does us really well. We just pop it out, use it, put it away when we're done. This is a microwave convection oven, which means that not only do we have microwave, but we can actually bake and roast or whatever things in here. So we do from time to time make cookies. Yesterday we had chicken Kievs for lunch that we cooked in the oven, so that's great, and it will run off our inverter, so we don't need to be plugged in. Plates and things, tinfoil and stuff. This drawer here, although it's in the kitchen, is actually our toiletries. So some are Melanie's, some are mine, toothbrushes, miscellaneous stuff, hair dryers, all that kind of thing. Then pots and pans, oven mitts, and plastics containers. We've got a blender in there, stick blender, baking trays, that sort of thing. So that's that part of the kitchen. Overhead cupboards. Now our overhead cupboards all use these catches from RV Labs, which lock automatically and nicely, so we don't have problems with cupboards flying open. So glasses, mugs, some more toiletry kind of stuff, and then up in the back part we've got a jug, our coffee machine, Bellman espresso machine, and coffee grinder back in there. Coffee beans, coffee beans which we're going to need to empty open tomorrow, and the reason for the drill in the cupboard is because we use it with the coffee grinder to grind the beans. We've got the knife block on the wall here, which we hardly ever use. It's great when we're parked in one spot for a while, but we have found that the knives tend to come off it if we're driving over bumpy roads. If we had one of the metal ones, it would probably be fine, but we don't. Okay, so pantry. This is our pantry. Originally the pantry we had on magnetic push locks, but found that they weren't strong enough, and so the pantry would keep coming open. So I've added one of these RV Labs latches like we have on the drawers, and since doing that, it's all good. It's never flown open. So pantry has the sorts of things that you would expect in a pantry: food storage, and then our fridge, which is a Vitrifrigo 130 litre 12 volt only fridge, and we chose this one over the Bushman because this one has a better size freezer because it's got a remote compressor. So we like our ice cream, so we needed a decent size freezer. So this is our wardrobe. One of the things we wanted was some hanging space for clothing. It's really handy to be able to just hang some clothes, not have everything in drawers. And also here, you probably can't see, I'll deal with those later. And then drawers, so we've got 2 drawers each. I won't show you in Melanie's drawers, but there's one of my drawers, heaps of space. I've got t-shirts and underwear and all that kind of thing all rolled up in there, and then shorts and jumpers down there. Generally don't need jumpers, but we've just been to Melbourne, so we did. Down here you'll notice we have a little cupboard which goes through to under the bed. That's got a return air vent for the air conditioner in it. We'll talk about the air conditioner in a moment, and just gives us access through into that space, which is quite good. Next to the door to under the bed we've got the outlet for the diesel heater, which we don't really need to use very often, but when we do need it, it's brilliant. So these are controls for the air conditioning and the heater. The air conditioning is ducted. This is one of the outlets. There's another one down here at my feet, and then the third over the bed. And that's an underbunk air conditioner, so it actually lives in that space under the bed, kind of back in that corner there, and that's really good. We've been able to sleep with the air conditioning running the last few nights, which is great. So even though we're off grid, we're not plugged in, we've got enough battery to get through the night. We went for a fixed bed, partly because we didn't want the inconvenience of breaking and making a bed every day, and partly because we wanted the storage space underneath it. At each end of the bed we've got overhead cupboards, again with the RV Labs latches and various things in those cupboards, and a little bookshelf at each end of this one, and then lighting under there, LED strip light, and these reading lights which also have an integrated USB, great for charging our phones. We've got a second Sirocco fan at the foot end of the bed, which is brilliant. When we first moved into the van, I thought, oh, we're never actually using it, and then we started heading into warmer spaces and it came into its own. So we have two max air fans, one at the front and one at the rear. That allows us to set up a flow of air in various ways, because you can put them on suck or blow. So we can have them both on suck, for example, and the windows open and get air coming in the windows and out the roof, or we can have it coming down the length of the van. Various options there, which is great. And of course we've got all the storage under the bed, which is really good. There's so much stuff in here. Importantly, tools. Got to have tools. Our hose is stored here. That's a retractable hose from HoseLink, just a mini retractable hose, which is great, really convenient. I see other people fighting with their hoses. So yeah, heaps of storage under there. This is our freshwater fill point. We have 120 litres of freshwater storage in the back behind the rear axle. We have about 60 litres of grey water storage, which is just over here in front of the rear wheels. And we have the input for 240 volt power, so 240 volt shore power if we want to plug in, which we don't plug in very often, but when we do, when we need to, we can, and that's the inlet for it. So for power systems, in some respects the heart of the van, we've got a Renogy 3000 watt inverter charger, so when we're plugged into shore power, this provides power to the van and charges the batteries. When we're off-grid, it's providing our 240 enough to run the air conditioner, the microwave, our induction cooktop. Obviously we can't run all of those things all at the same time, but it does the job for us. And as you can see, we've got some sneaky laptop storage in there as well. That fan, you can probably hear, is drawing air out of this space and pushing it into the cab, just to help keep the electronics in here from getting too hot. And then over in this space, we've got our fuses for most of the systems in the van, circuit breakers for the DC to DC charger and the solar charge controller, a circuit breaker for that fuse box, so that we're not can't put too much current through the circuit, through the fuse box. The main 300 amp fuse for the system, so we can't pull more than 300 amps for a sustained period of time through the batteries. Isolator for the inverter, so we can shut off power to the inverter altogether if we need to. These big cables are the cables for the batteries. We've got under here in a sealed compartment 500 amp hours of Renogy lithium batteries, and that's what's providing the power on a day-to-day basis, and does a great job. This other thing over here is the RCD for the system that controls the 240 volt circuits in the van. Hope you enjoyed the tour. If you want to see the build series, I'll link that in the description down below, and hope you stick around and watch a bit more of our content. Thanks for coming along, and be kind. See ya.